The earth does not smell of spring in the Leary Valley this May morning. It smells of cordite and wet ash. It smells of the iron tang of blood that has soaked into Italian soil for months, turning fertile farmland into a graveyard that stretches as far as the eye can see. Through the lens of history, we often view the liberation of Europe as an inevitable tide, a sweeping blue arrow across a map in some war college classroom. The good guys marching forward, the bad guys falling back. Victory preordained by industrial might and righteous cause. But on the ground in the shadow of the Apennine Mountains, there is nothing inevitable about any of this. There is only mud. There is only fear. And a head rising out of the morning mist like dragon's teeth carved from concrete and steel, there is the Hitler line. May 23, 1944, 600 hours. The sun has not yet risen, but dawn is coming whether the men lying in the ditches want it to or not. Private William Chen is 21 years old. His hands shake as he checks his M1 Garand rifle for the 100th time since midnight. The metal is cold despite the growing warmth of the Italian spring. There is blood on his uniform, dried now to a rust-brown stain. Not his blood, not yet. It belongs to the man who was lying next to him 3 hours ago before a German mortar round ended that conversation forever. Billy tries to remember what his mother's voice sounds like. He tries to picture the wheat fields back home in Montana, golden and endless, under a sky so blue it hurt to look at. He tries to think of anything except what is about to happen when that whistle blows. But all he can think about is the fortress ahead. From where he lies pressed flat against the earth, Billy can see the Hitler line through the dissipating smoke of the preparatory barrage. It does not look like something built by human hands. It looks like something conjured from a nightmare engineered by demons who understand exactly how to kill men by the hundreds. Concrete bunkers squat low to the ground, their firing slits like narrowed eyes watching the approach. Barbed wire stretches in coils thick as a man's arm, glistening with morning dew that looks too much like blood in the pre-dawn light. Anti-tank ditches yawn open across the valley floor, 20 feet wide and 10 feet deep, their edges reinforced with steel. And somewhere out there, invisible until they fire, are the Panzer turrets. Panther tank turrets dismounted from their hulls and embedded in concrete bunkers. High-velocity 75mm cannons that can punch through a Sherman tank's armor at 1,000 yards. Guns that have been pre-sighted on every approach, every piece of cover, every route a man might take if he was foolish enough to try crossing this killing ground. The Americans tried. 9,000 casualties at Monte Cassino just to take a monastery. The British tried. The Rapido River ran red with their blood. Division after division thrown against German defenses, each one breaking like waves against rocks. Now it is the Canadians' turn. And lying here in the mud are 2 Americans who volunteered to fight under a foreign flag because their own country was not yet ready to face what needed facing. Billy Chen from Montana. Farm boy, mechanic, son of a man who died in the First World War before Billy was old enough to remember his face. And somewhere to Billy's left, probably sitting in a Sherman tank and trying not to think about how easily those things burn, is Tommy Sullivan from Boston. Shipyard worker, Irish Catholic. Joined the Canadian Army because he was bored with his life and thought war would be an adventure. Tommy learned real quick that adventure is just another word for terror, punctuated by moments of absolute chaos. Billy does not know Tommy yet. They will meet later if they both survive the next 8 hours. They will become friends in the way that only men who have walked through hell together can be friends. But right now, Billy does not even know the man exists. Right now, all Billy knows is that in a few minutes, he is going to stand up. He is going to step out of this ditch, and he is going to walk directly toward machine gun nests that have been waiting for him with the patience of spiders in a web. Sergeant McDonald crawls up beside him. McDonald is 28 years old but looks 40. 3 years of war does that to a man. He has seen Sicily. He has seen Ortona, where Canadians invented a new kind of urban warfare by blasting through the internal walls of buildings rather than fighting street to street. He has seen things that wake him up screaming in whatever passes for sleep these days. McDonald's face is streaked with mud and someone else's blood. There is a field dressing wrapped around his left hand where shrapnel caught him yesterday. He should be in the aid station. Instead, he is here because that is what sergeants do. Chen, he says, his voice barely audible over the distant rumble of artillery. You see that bunker 200 yards out, 10 o'clock position. Billy looks. At first, he sees nothing but grass and rubble. Then his eyes adjust and he sees it, a low mound of earth that is just slightly too regular to be natural. A firing slit so narrow it is almost invisible, and somewhere inside that concrete tomb, a German machine gun crew is waiting. I see it, Sergeant. MG-42 inside, 1,200 rounds per minute. The Krauts call it their universal machine gun. We call it Hitler's zipper. You know why? Billy shakes his head. Because that's what it sounds like when it fires. Like God himself is unzipping the sky. And when that whistle blows, son, you are going to stand up. You are going to fix your bayonet. And you are going to walk straight toward that bunker. You understand me. Billy's mouth is too dry to speak. He nods. Good. Because if you stop, you are dead. If you run, you are dead. The only way out is through. You remember that. The only way out is through. MacDonald moves on to the next man, repeating the same instructions, preparing 40 men to do something that every instinct in their bodies will scream against. Billy lies there and thinks about his father. Michael Chen, Private American Expeditionary Force, dead at 24 from mustard gas in France 1918. Billy never knew him except through photographs and his mother's stories. A Chinese immigrant who married an Irish girl and tried to make a life farming Montana wheat. A man who volunteered for a war that was not his fight because he believed in something bigger than himself. Billy joined the Canadian Army in 1941, 6 months before Pearl Harbor. America was not at war yet. But Hitler was burning Europe, and Billy could not stand the thought of sitting on a farm in Montana while other men fought the fight his father had started and never finished. The recruiter in Calgary looked at his application and shook his head. You know, this means you lose your U.S. citizenship. The neutrality laws are clear. Americans who join foreign militaries forfeit their citizenship. Billy thought about it for maybe 3 seconds. I know, but my dad did not wait for permission to do what was right. Neither will I. Now lying in Italian mud with his heart hammering so hard he can feel it in his temples, Billy wonders if his father felt this same fear. If he lay in some French trench in 1918 waiting for a whistle that would send him over the top into machine gun fire and gas, he wonders if his father was this terrified. He wonders if terror is just part of being a soldier, something you carry with the same weight as your rifle in your pack. The sky to the east is beginning to lighten. Dawn is coming, and with it the barrage. Captain Robert Harrison stands in the command post 200 yards behind the line. He is 34 years old, university educated, trained at West Point before deciding his future was with the Canadian Army, not the American one. He has led men through Sicily and Ortona. He has written letters to mothers and wives explaining how their sons and husbands died bravely, even when the truth is they died screaming and alone. Harrison looks at the map spread across the field table. Red marks indicate known German positions. There are dozens of them, hundreds maybe. The Hitler line is not a single defensive position. It is a web of interlocking bunkers and firing points, each one supporting the others, creating kill zones that overlap like scales on a dragon. His aide, Lieutenant Morrison, stands beside him. Morrison is young, 22, and still believes officers should look confident even when they are sending men to die. Sir, the artillery is ready. 800 guns, 15-minute preparation barrage, then the creeping barrage to support the advance. Harrison nods. 800 artillery pieces. More firepower than most battles in history have seen in their entirety. And yet he knows it will not be enough. The Hitler line was built by the Todd organization using slave labor and the finest German military engineering. Concrete walls 3 meters thick. Bunkers sunk so deep into the earth that even direct hits from heavy artillery will do little more than stun the crews inside. And if we fail to breach, Lieutenant, what then? Morrison hesitates. The question has only one answer, and both men know it. Then Rome stays in German hands, sir, and the whole Italian campaign becomes a footnote, an expensive diversion that accomplished nothing. Harrison thinks about the men lying in those ditches. Boys, really. Most of them are younger than Morrison. Farm kids from Saskatchewan, lumberjacks from British Columbia, factory workers from Ontario, and scattered among them Americans like Billy Chen, who could not wait for their own country to join the fight. Tomorrow, many of them will be dead. Harrison knows this with the certainty of experience. He has seen enough battles to know that when you assault prepared defensive positions, you pay in blood. The only question is whether the price will be worth what you purchase. Tell the artillery to commence firing at 0600 hours, and tell the assault companies to be ready. There will be no retreat, no pause. We break through or we die trying. Morrison salutes and leaves. Harrison is alone with the map and the crushing weight of command. He thinks about his wife, his daughter, 5 years old now, growing up in Toronto without her father. He has not seen her since 1942. By the time he gets home, if he gets home, she will be a different person. She will barely remember him. He pours himself 2 fingers of whiskey from the bottle he keeps in his pack. He holds the glass but does not drink. He just needs to feel the weight of it in his hand, the promise of oblivion delayed. Outside, the night is ending. The last night for some of these boys. They do not know which ones yet. Death is democratic that way. It takes the brave and the cowardly, the prepared and the foolish without preference. Harrison sets down the glass untouched. He will drink after, if there is an after. Meanwhile, in a German bunker, 300 yards ahead of Billy Chen's position, Major Klaus Weber of the 1st Fallschirmjäger Division sits in a chair that was taken from an Italian villa and studies his own maps. Weber is 36, a professional soldier, a paratrooper who jumped into Crete and survived the meat grinder. He has fought the British in North Africa and the Americans at Anzio. He knows what the Allies are capable of. He also knows the strength of his position. His junior officer, Lieutenant Schreiber, enters the bunker carrying fresh intelligence reports. Herr Major, reconnaissance confirms Canadian units are moving into position. 1st Canadian Corps. They will attack at dawn. Weber does not look up from his maps. Canadians, colonial troops. How many? At least 2 divisions, sir. Infantry and armor. Our observers report they have been staging artillery all night. Perhaps 600 to 800 guns. Now Weber looks up. 800 guns is serious, but he has seen serious before. Let them fire. These bunkers were designed to withstand anything short of a direct hit from a battleship. The walls are 3 meters of reinforced concrete. The roofs are 4 meters. Their shells will do nothing but make noise and raise dust. Schreiber nods but looks uncertain. Sir, the Canadians fought well at Ortona. They are not like the other Allied formations. They have a reputation for not stopping. Weber smiles. It is not a kind smile. Ortona was street fighting, chaos, buildings and rubble. This is open ground, Lieutenant. We have interlocking fields of fire. Every approach is pre-sighted. We have mines every meter, anti-tank ditches that will swallow their Shermans whole. And we have the Panzer turrets. He stands and walks to the bunker entrance, looking out at the killing ground that stretches before them. In the growing light, it looks almost peaceful. Farmland, grass, a few scattered trees. This line was named after the Führer himself. It was built to be unbreakable. And it is unbreakable. The Americans could not break us at Casino. The British bled themselves white trying. These Canadians will learn the same lesson. You do not assault the Third Reich and live. Schreiber wants to believe this. He is young enough to still think that confidence equals certainty. And if they break through, Sir Tim, Weber turns and looks at him. The smile is gone. They will not break through. But if somehow they did, it would mean the road to Rome is open. It would mean Field Marshal Kesselring's entire defensive strategy has failed. It would mean the collapse of the Italian front. He returns to his chair, to his maps, to his certainty. But they will not break through. Tomorrow we will teach these colonial farmers what happens when you challenge German engineering. The universe does not care about certainty. The universe cares about what is not what men believe should be. And what is about to happen in the Leary Valley will shatter certainties held by both sides. It is 0545 hours, 15 minutes until the barrage begins. Billy has stopped shaking. That is either a good sign or a very bad one. He has passed through fear into a kind of numb acceptance. Whatever is going to happen will happen. His hands will do what they have been trained to do. His feet will carry him forward or they will not. He has given up trying to control outcomes. He thinks about a girl named Jenny. They grew up together in Montana, went to the same one-room schoolhouse. She kissed him once the day before he left for Canada, told him to come back safe. He promised he would, even though both of them knew it was a promise he might not be able to keep. He wrote her a letter 3 days ago. It is in his pack, sealed in an envelope. If he dies today, the chaplain will send it home. If he lives, he will burn it and write a new one. That is how soldiers measure time, in letters written and letters burned. The eastern sky is lighter now, false dawn giving way to true dawn. Billy can see the Hitler line more clearly. It is worse than he thought. More bunkers, more wire, more guns waiting to tear him apart. He should be praying. That is what his mother would want. But he cannot remember any prayers. The words have fled his mind, replaced by a litany of practical concerns. Is his rifle loaded? Yes. Is his bayonet sharp? Yes. Are his bootlaces tied? Yes. Will any of it matter when the bullets start flying? Numb, somewhere to his left, he hears Morrison throwing up. The sound of a man's body rejecting what is about to happen to it. No one says anything. They have all been there. Terror is honest that way. McDonald crawls past again. He is checking each man one last time, making sure they are ready, making sure they understand that there is no backing out now. They are committed. 2 minutes, boys. Fix bayonets. The sound of 40 bayonets locking into place. Click, click, click. A mechanical chorus that means different things to different men. To some, it is resolve. To others, resignation. To Billy, it is just a sound. One more thing his hands know how to do. Oh, 558 hours. Oh, 559 hours. Oh, 600 hours. The world becomes sound, not noise, sound. A physical force that punches the air from lungs and makes the earth convulse like a wounded animal. 800 Allied artillery pieces firing simultaneously. The barrage. Billy has his hands over his ears and his mouth open. Someone told him that prevents your eardrums from rupturing. He does not know if it is true. He cannot hear anything except the roar of shells passing overhead and the thunder of impacts ahead. The Hitler line disappears behind a wall of smoke and fire. The earth fountains upward in geysers of dirt and rock. Trees that have stood for centuries are torn from the ground and scattered like matchsticks. The very air seems to burn. This continues for 15 minutes. 15 minutes of hell raining down on the German positions. 15 minutes in which Billy cannot think, cannot breathe, can only lie there and feel the earth shake beneath him. And then impossibly a whistle blows. Shrill and clear above the thunder of artillery, Captain Harrison's whistle, the signal. Billy stands. All around him 40 men stand. They step out of the ditches and onto open ground. The barrage is still falling, but it is moving now, creeping forward at 100 yards every 3 minutes. A curtain of steel that walks ahead of them, suppressing the German defenders. Suppressing, not killing. Billy knows the difference. He starts to walk. It is the longest walk of his life. Every step is an act of will. Every step is a negotiation between his conscious mind and his screaming instincts. His instincts want him to run, to hide, to dig a hole in the earth and curl up and wait for this to be over. But his conscious mind remembers McDonald's words. The only way out is through. So he walks. The smoke is clearing ahead. The Hitler line is emerging from the haze like a beast rising from the sea. It is still there, still intact. The barrage has done damage, certainly, but it has not destroyed. German engineers knew what they were doing when they built these fortifications. 100 yards from the wire. Billy can see the bunkers clearly now. Low concrete structures that blend into the landscape. Firing slits like cold eyes watching. 75 yards. Still no gunfire. The Germans are waiting, letting them get closer. Maximizing the killing radius. 50 yards. Billy's heart is hammering. His breath comes in short gasps. His hands are slick with sweat on the rifle stock. Then the first MG-42 opens fire. The sound is unlike anything Billy has ever heard. Not the crack of individual shots. A continuous tearing sound. Like fabric ripping. Like the sky being unzipped by invisible hands. Hitler's zipper. 1,200 rounds per minute. 20 rounds per second. A stream of bullets so dense it is almost solid. Men fall. Not Hollywood slow motion. Fast. Instant. 1 second they are walking, the next they are gone. Private Peterson beside Billy simply drops his helmet, ringing off a rock. Private Kowalski spins and falls. Private O'Brien is hit in the leg and goes down screaming. Billy hits the ground. He does not decide to. His body does it for him. Some primal part of his brain takes over and throws him flat. He lies there with his face pressed into the dirt, hearing bullets snap through the air inches above his head. This is the moment. This is the moment where armies break, where the assault stalls and turns into a rout, where living men decide that dead men had the right idea and retreat is the only sane option. But Sergeant McDonald is there crawling forward, his voice cutting through the chaos. Up on your feet, keep moving. Billy looks up. McDonald's face is a mask of mud and blood. There is a wild light in his eyes, the look of a man who has crossed some threshold beyond fear. Sergeant, they are cutting us apart. Then crawl. Crawl forward, but don't you dare stop moving. The only way out is through, you hear me, through. And somehow, impossibly, Billy moves. He does not stand. That would be suicide. But he crawls, elbows and knees, dragging himself forward through the mud and the bodies and the screaming. Around him, others are doing the same. Not all of them. Many are dead or dying. But enough are still moving forward. This is not tactics. This is not strategy. This is pure stubbornness. The refusal to accept that forward movement is impossible. And it is the one thing the German defenders did not calculate. They calculated killing zones and fields of fire. They calculated the maximum effective range of their weapons and the minimum time required to suppress an assault. They calculated everything except this: men who refuse to stop, men who crawl through machine gun fire because crawling forward is the only direction left. The Hitler line is about to learn a hard truth. You can build the perfect fortress. You can engineer the perfect defense, but you cannot engineer away human will. And on this May morning, the will of farm boys from Montana and Saskatchewan and Ontario is about to prove stronger than concrete and steel. This is how it begins, not with a clever plan or overwhelming force, but with Billy Chen lying in the mud, bleeding from a dozen small wounds he does not even feel yet, crawling forward, because a sergeant told him the only way out is through. This is how the unbreakable line begins to break. Billy Chen crawls forward through a hell that has no name in any language spoken by living men. His world has collapsed into a tunnel of awareness no more than 5 feet wide. There is mud, there is blood. There is the body of Corporal Peterson, face down, helmet askew, lying so still that Billy knows without checking that Peterson will never move again. Behind him, someone is screaming, a high continuous wail that rises above even the machine gun fire. Billy does not turn to look. He knows that sound. He heard it in training when a man got his leg crushed under a truck. It is the sound of a body discovering it has been broken beyond repair. The MG-42 sweeps across the field again. Bullets crack through the air with sounds like whips snapping. Dirt fountains up in neat lines where the tracers strike. The German gunner is methodical, professional. He is not panicking or spraying wildly. He is working the field like a farmer working a plow, walking his fire back and forth across the killing ground. Billy presses himself flat and prays to a God he is not sure he believes in anymore. The barrage has moved on. The curtain of artillery fire that was supposed to suppress the German bunkers is now falling 200 yards ahead, walking toward the Melfa River according to a timetable that has no concern for the men dying in the mud. The plan was for the infantry to keep pace with the barrage, to stay close enough that the Germans would be pinned down, unable to man their weapons effectively. But plans do not survive contact with reality. The plan did not account for the density of the defensive fire, did not account for the psychological weight of walking towards certain death, did not account for the simple fact that crawling is slower than walking. So now the barrage is ahead, and the machine guns are alive, and Billy is learning what it means to be a soldier. It means continuing to move when every cell in your body is screaming at you to stop. It means doing the bomb even when the bomb is impossible. It means crawling forward because McDonald said to crawl forward, and sergeants know things that privates do not. Billy reaches a shallow depression in the earth, not much, maybe 8 inches deep, but it is cover. He rolls into it and lies there gasping. His canteen is loose on his belt. He can feel it banging against his hip. He wants water more than he has ever wanted anything. His mouth tastes like copper and dirt. He risks a look forward. The bunker McDonald pointed out is still there, squat and malevolent. The MG-42 barrel protrudes from the firing slit like a venomous snake's tongue. As Billy watches, it spits another burst. More men fall. He counts 7 bodies between his position and the wire. 7 men from his platoon who will never see sunset. Behind him, he hears McDonald's voice. Still moving, still pushing men forward. Second section, flank left. Use the ditch. Third section, suppressing fire on that bunker. The rattle of rifle fire. Lee Enfields and M1 Garands firing at the bunker. It is futile. Rifle bullets against 3 meters of reinforced concrete, but it gives the machine gunner something to think about. Makes him duck back from the firing slit for precious seconds. And in those seconds, men move. Billy moves. He is out of the depression and crawling again. His elbows are raw. He can feel blood soaking through his uniform sleeves. Rocks and debris dig into his flesh. He ignores it. Pain means nothing right now. Pain is just information his body is sending that his mind has no time to process. 30 yards from the wire now. He can see it clearly. Concertina wire stacked 3 layers deep. German engineers have woven it into a barrier 8 feet thick. There are mines in there too. Anti-personnel mines designed to maim rather than kill. The Germans learned that wounded men slow down an assault more effectively than dead men. Billy finds another depression. Rolls into it. This one has a corpse in it. Private Kowalski. Billy recognizes the boots. Kowalski was from Chicago. His family came from Poland before the war. He joined the Canadian Army because he wanted to kill Nazis, and America was not fighting yet. Now Kowalski is staring at the sky with eyes that see nothing, and there is a hole in his chest the size of a fist. Billy lies next to the body and tries not to look at the face. He has known Kowalski for 8 months. They played cards together, shared cigarettes, complained about the food. Now Kowalski is meat cooling in the Italian sun. This is what war actually is. Not glory, not heroism, just meat and mud and the smell of cordite. The machine gun fire slackens. Billy risks another look. The bunker is still there, but something has changed. The barrel is no longer tracking smoothly. It jerks, stops, starts again. Then Billy understands. The rifle fire is working, not destroying the bunker, but forcing the gunner to take cover. Every time he exposes himself to fire, a dozen rifles send bullets through that narrow slit. Most miss, but most is not all. The gunner is human. He does not want to die, so he ducks back. And in those moments when he ducks back, the gun is silent. Forward, McDonald is there again somehow. Still alive, somehow still leading. While he's reloading, Billy moves. He is running now, actually running. The last 30 yards to the wire. Other men are running too, maybe a dozen of them from the original 40, running through the gap in the fire. Running because standing still means death, and at least running gives the illusion of control. Billy hits the wire at full speed. The impact knocks the breath from his lungs. He bounces off and falls. For a moment, he lies there stunned. Then training takes over. He pulls the wire cutters from his pack. His hands are shaking so badly he drops them. He picks them up, grabs a strand of wire. It is thicker than he expected. The cutters barely make a dent. He tries again. The wire parts with a twang that sounds impossibly loud. 1 strand cut, 7,000 more to go. The machine gun opens fire again. Billy flattens himself against the wire. Bullets snap overhead. He hears a scream. Someone else has reached the wire. Someone else has been hit. Billy does not look. He keeps cutting, cut, twist, pull, cut, twist, pull. His hands are bleeding now. The wire has teeth. Every strand he cuts seems to be replaced by 2 more. This is impossible. This is Sisyphus pushing the boulder. This is trying to empty the ocean with a spoon. But he keeps cutting because there is nothing else to do. Then he hears a new sound, a deeper sound, the roar of diesel engines and the squeal of tank treads on rock. The armor is coming up. 3 miles behind Billy's position in a staging area that was supposed to be safe from German artillery, Tommy Sullivan stands in the turret of a Sherman tank and watches hell unfold through binoculars. He can see the infantry advance stalling at the wire, can see the tiny figures of men trying to cut through, can see the machine gun fire raking across them like an invisible scythe. Jesus Christ, he says to nobody in particular. Inside the tank, his crew cannot hear him over the engine noise. Driver Murphy from Saskatchewan, Gunner Jackson from Chicago, another American who could not wait for his country to wake up. Loader Rodriguez from Texas, whose family has been in America since before it was America. Tommy lowers the binoculars. His hands are steady. That surprises him. He thought they would shake. He thought facing his first real combat would reduce him to a terrified child. But instead he feels oddly calm, detached, like he is watching this happen to someone else. "Sullivan?" The radio crackles. "Tank platoon commander. Mount up. We're advancing to support the infantry. Follow my lead and keep your intervals." Tommy drops into the turret and pulls the hatch closed. The world becomes the small metal cave of the tank interior. It smells like oil and sweat and the particular staleness of air that has been breathed too many times. "Murphy, start her up. Jackson, load he. Rodriguez, you good. Good, Sarge." "Murphy, ready." Jackson, locked and loaded. The engine coughs and roars to life. The tank lurches forward. Through the periscope, Tommy can see the other Shermans of his platoon moving out. 5 tanks, 35 tons of steel and high explosives each. On paper, they are formidable weapons of war. In practice, Tommy knows what they really are. They are coffins that burn real good when German guns punch through the armor. The Sherman is a decent tank against most German armor. Adequate. But the Hitler line does not have most German armor. It has Panzer turrets, Panther tank guns mounted on buried concrete bunkers. And the Panther 75mm KWK-42 cannon can kill a Sherman from 1,000 yards, while the Sherman has to get close enough to smell the German crew's breakfast to have a chance of penetrating Panther armor. This is a math problem with a bloody answer. But the infantry needs support. The infantry is dying in the wire, so the tanks go forward. The ride is rough. Italy is not tank country. The ground is broken, craters from the barrage, ditches dug by farmers, stone walls that have stood since the Romans. Murphy navigates around obstacles zigzagging to make them a harder target. "Contact front." Jackson's voice is tight. "I got a bunker, 11 o'clock, 300 yards. Tommy traverses the turret. Through the sight he can see it, a low mound of earth, the telltale glint of metal. "Can you identify?" "Negative. Looks like a standard pillbox, but I'm not sure." "Hit it with he. Let's see what we're dealing with." The 75mm gun roars. The tank rocks back from the recoil. Tommy watches the round impact, dirt and smoke fountain up. When it clears, the bunker is still there, undamaged, and then it fires back. The sound is indescribable. Not a boom, a crack, like the air itself splitting open. And in the same instant, something massive slams into the Sherman's frontal armor. The tank rings like a bell. Tommy's head bounces off the turret wall. His ears are ringing. Smoke fills the compartment. For a terrible second, he thinks they have been penetrated, that they are about to burn. But the smoke clears and everyone is still alive. The round did not penetrate. It hit the frontal armor and glanced off. Physics and angles saved them. "What the fuck was that?" Rodriguez is screaming. "Panzer turret," Tommy says. His voice sounds distant through the ringing in his ears. "It's not a pillbox, it's a goddamn tank gun on a bunker." Jackson is already reloading. "Where is it? I can't see it." Tommy scans through the periscope. There, a flash of movement, the turret traversing to track them. Murphy reversed now. The tank lurches backward. The second round passes through the space they just occupied. Tommy watches it fly past. If they had stayed still for 3 more seconds, that round would have hit them square. "We can't fight that thing from this range," Jackson says. "We need to close or we need to run." Tommy thinks. His training says fall back, regroup, call in artillery. But the infantry is still at the wire, still dying. If the tanks retreat, the assault fails. If the assault fails, the Hitler line holds. If the Hitler line holds, thousands more men die trying again tomorrow. "We close," Tommy says. "Murphy, get us within 100 yards of that bunker." "Sarge, that's suicide." "You got a better idea." Silence. "Then do it. Fast as this bucket will zigzag pattern. Make us hard to hit." Murphy does not argue further. The tank surges forward. 35 tons of American steel charging at a German gun emplacement. This is either the bravest thing Tommy has ever done or the stupidest. Probably both. The Panzer turret fires again. Misses. The gunner is good, but hitting a moving target at close range is harder than long-range shooting. The turret traverse speed cannot keep up with the Sherman's movement. 200 yards. The bunker is firing at them continuously now. Rounds cracking past. One hits the ground in front and ricochets up, sparking off the hull. 150 yards. 100 yards. Murphy stop. Jackson point blank, base of the turret. The Sherman shudders to a halt. Jackson fires without waiting for precise aim. At this range, precision does not matter. The HE round slams into the concrete foundation of the Panzer turret. The explosion is massive. Concrete fragments spray outward. When the smoke clears, the turret is canted at an angle. Disabled. Got him. Rodriguez is pounding the breech. We got the son of a bitch. Tommy allows himself one breath of relief. Then his tactical mind kicks back in. All Shamrock units, this is Sullivan. New tactic. These Panzer turrets can't depress their guns enough to hit you at close range. Get close. Point blank. Shoot the foundations. The radio crackles with acknowledgments. Other tank commanders are seeing the same thing. The German defensive system has a flaw. The turrets are deadly at long range but vulnerable up close. It is a tactic born of desperation and observation. Nothing they taught at tank school. But it works. And in combat, working is all that matters. The Sherman platoon advances. One by one, they close with the Panzer turrets and knock them out. It is brutal, dangerous. 2 tanks are hit, 1 burns. Tommy sees the crew bail out into machine gun fire. 3 men make it, 2 do not. But the path is opening. The bunkers are being silenced. And at the wire, the infantry is finally getting through. Billy has cut a gap big enough to crawl through. His hands are shredded. Blood runs down his wrists and soaks into his sleeves. But the gap is there. He squirms through. The wire catches on his pack, on his uniform, on his flesh. He leaves bits of himself behind as he pushes forward. When he emerges on the other side, he is inside the Hitler line's perimeter. For a moment, he just lies there breathing. He made it through the wire. Somehow, impossibly, he made it through. Then he remembers there are still machine guns, still bunkers, still Germans who want him dead. He looks around. 5 other men made it through the gap he cut. 5 out of 40. The mathematics of attrition written in blood and bodies. One of them is MacDonald. The sergeant's uniform is more red than khaki now. He has been hit multiple times, but he is still moving, still fighting, still leading. Chen O'Brien, Washington on me. We're taking that bunker. The bunker MacDonald pointed out hours ago. The one with the MG-42. It is 20 yards away. 20 yards of open ground with no cover. Billy wants to say this is impossible. Wants to explain that they are 5 men against a fortified position. Wants to point out that this is suicide. But MacDonald is already moving, crawling toward the bunker. And if the sergeant is moving, then Billy moves too, because that is what soldiers do. They follow their leaders into hell and hope to come out the other side. They crawl. The machine gun cannot depress low enough to hit them this close to the bunker. The Germans designed these positions to kill men at 100 yards. They did not design them to defend against men who get close enough to touch the concrete. 15 yards. MacDonald has a grenade in his hand. Billy pulls his own grenades. 2 fragmentation grenades that suddenly feel very small and inadequate. 10 yards. They can hear voices inside the bunker now. German voices. Shouting. The crew knows something is wrong. They are trying to traverse the gun, trying to bring it to bear. 5 yards. MacDonald's arm goes back. He throws. The grenade arcs through the air. Billy watches it tumble end over end. It disappears into the firing slit. For 1 eternal second, nothing happens. Then the bunker erupts. The explosion is muffled by the concrete walls. But Billy feels it, sees dust and smoke jet from the firing slit, hears screaming inside. MacDonald is on his feet, running the last 5 yards. He drops a second grenade through the slit, gets clear. The second explosion is louder, definitive. When the smoke clears, the bunker is silent. MacDonald moves to the entrance, a steel door set into the concrete. He kicks it. It does not budge. Locked from inside. O'Brien charges. Private O'Brien pulls a demolition charge from his pack, strips the wrapper, sets it against the door hinges, lights the fuse. They run. The charge detonates with a sharp crack. The door hangs askew. MacDonald goes through first. Pistol drawn. Billy follows. Inside the bunker is a charnel house. 4 German soldiers. 3 dead, 1 dying. The machine gun is destroyed. Twisted metal and splintered wood. The walls are splashed with blood. The dying German looks at them. He cannot be more than 18. His uniform is too big for him. He tries to raise his hands and surrender, but one arm is missing below the elbow. McDonald shoots him. 1 round. Professional. Efficient. Then he moves to check the other bodies. Billy stands there frozen. This is the first time he has been inside an enemy position. The first time he has seen German soldiers up close. They look like boys, like the farm kids Billy grew up with in Montana. Someone's sons, someone's brothers. Chen snap out of it. McDonald's voice is hard. They would have killed you without a second thought. Don't waste sympathy on dead enemies. Billy nods. McDonald is right. Those boys were manning the gun that killed Peterson and Kowalski and 30 others. They chose their side. They made their stand. Now they pay the price. But knowing McDonald is right does not make it easier to look at the bodies. Washington, get on the radio. Tell Captain Harrison we have secured Bunker 7. Request reinforcements and medical support. Washington moves to the radio set in the corner, starts cranking the generator. Speaking into the handset, McDonald sits down heavily. For the first time, Billy sees how bad the sergeant is hurt. Multiple gunshot wounds, shrapnel wounds. A piece of his ear is missing. He should be dead. By all rights, he should have died 100 yards back. Sarge, you need a medic. Later. First we hold this position. Sir, you're bleeding out. McDonald looks at him. His eyes are clear, despite the blood loss. Chen, I'm done. We both know it, but I can still hold a rifle for another 10 minutes. And 10 minutes might be the difference between this assault succeeding or failing. He coughs, blood on his lips. You did good today, kid. You kept moving when most men would have stopped. You got through the wire. You took this bunker. That's more than a lot of soldiers ever do. Billy does not know what to say. The only way out is through, McDonald continues. His voice is getting weaker. You remember that? No matter what happens next, no matter how hard it gets, the only way out is through. He slumps against the concrete wall. His rifle falls from his hands. Billy catches him, lowers him gently, checks for a pulse. There is one. Faint. Thready. McDonald's breathing is shallow. Washington, where's that medic? Command says they're coming. 5 minutes. McDonald will not last 5 minutes. Billy knows this. Has seen enough death today to recognize it when it comes. He sits with the sergeant, holds his hand. It seems like the least he can do. McDonald led them through hell. Kept them moving when stopping meant death. Died so that others could live. That is what sergeants do. 3 minutes later, McDonald stops breathing. Billy closes his eyes. Says a prayer he did not know he remembered. Then he picks up McDonald's rifle and returns to the firing slit. Outside, the battle continues. More bunkers falling, more tanks advancing. The Hitler line is breaking. Slowly, painfully, but breaking. Billy Chen is no longer a farm boy from Montana. He is a soldier who has walked through machine gun fire and lived, who has cut through wire with bloody hands, who has watched his sergeant die and picked up his rifle to continue the fight. He is 21 years old. He will never be young again, but the line is breaking, and that is all that matters. The sun is higher now. The morning has aged into something harder and more brutal. The smoke from burning tanks drifts across the Leary Valley like fog, and beneath it, men are learning what it costs to break a fortress that bears the name of the devil himself. Billy Chen sits in the captured bunker with McDonald's body cooling beside him and tries to remember what silence sounds like. There is no silence here, only the continuous thunder of artillery, the crack of rifles, the screams of wounded men, the roar of tank engines. These sounds layer over each other until they become a single wall of noise that presses against his skull. Private Washington is on the radio. His voice is steady despite everything they have been through. Despite the fact that their platoon of 40 men has been reduced to 5. Despite the fact that they are sitting in a concrete tomb with 4 dead Germans and their dead sergeant. Able 6, this is Able 2 actual. We have secured Bunker 7. Repeat, Bunker 7 is secured. Request reinforcements and medical support. Over. The radio crackles. Static. Then Captain Harrison's voice distorted but recognizable. Able 2, this is Able 6. Reinforcements are not available. Medical support is en route but delayed. You are to hold that position. Do you understand hold at all costs? Washington looks at Billy. In his eyes, Billy sees the same question that is forming in his own mind. How are 5 men supposed to hold a bunker against a German counterattack? But Billy knows the answer. They hold because they have been ordered to hold. Because if this bunker falls back into German hands, men will die retaking it. Because in war, you do not get to choose between good options and bad options. You only get to choose between bad options and worse options. Roger, Able 6. We will hold. Able 2 out. Washington sets down the handset. O'Brien is at the firing slit scanning the battlefield. Private Little, a farm kid from Alberta, who looks even younger than his 18 years, is checking ammunition, counting magazines, making an inventory of what they have to fight with. We got maybe 200 rounds between us, Little says. His voice cracks. And 4 grenades. Billy does the math. 200 rounds. 5 men. If the Germans counterattack with a full platoon, they will be overrun in minutes. He looks at McDonald's body. The sergeant died getting them here. Died so that this bunker could be taken. Died so that the Hitler line could be broken. Billy will not let that death be meaningless. O'Brien, what do you see out there? O'Brien does not turn from the firing slit. His voice is distant. He has been at the front longer than the others. He fought at Ortona. He knows what comes next. I see our boys still trying to get through the wire. I see at least 3 more bunkers still operational. I see German infantry moving up from the rear. Maybe a platoon. Maybe more. How long until they hit us? 10 minutes, maybe 15. Billy stands, his legs shake. He has been running on adrenaline for so long that his body is starting to rebel. His hands are still bleeding from the wire. His uniform is soaked with blood and mud and things he does not want to think about. But he is the ranking man now. MacDonald is dead. That makes Billy a 21-year-old private who was milking cows 6 months ago, the man in charge. Washington, tell Captain Harrison we have enemy infantry approaching. Request artillery support on our position, plus 200 yards. Washington stares at him. Plus 200? That's danger close. That's practically on top of us. I know, do it anyway. While Washington radios for artillery, Billy moves to the firing slit. He can see what O'Brien sees now. German soldiers advancing in short rushes, using cover. Moving with the practiced efficiency of professional soldiers who have done this 1,000 times before. They are coming to take their bunker back, and they have the numbers to do it. Billy thinks about Montana, about his mother, about Jenny. He wonders if he will ever see any of them again. The odds are not good. 5 men against a platoon. Mathematics written in blood. But then he thinks about what MacDonald said. The only way out is through. There is no retreating from this bunker. No falling back to regroup. They either hold here or they die here. Those are the only 2 options. Listen up, Billy says. His voice sounds strange to his own ears, like someone else speaking, someone older, someone harder. We hold this bunker. I don't care if they send a whole company at us. We hold. The others look at him. In their eyes, he sees fear, but he also sees something else. Resolution. These men have come too far to quit now. Little, you're on the MG-40. I know it's German, but a gun is a gun. You know how to work it. Little nods. He is a farm boy. Farm boys know machines. O'Brien, Washington rifles at the firing slits. Controlled fire. Make every shot count. We don't have ammunition to waste. They move to their positions. Billy takes MacDonald's rifle. It is heavier than his own M1. The wood stock is worn smooth by years of use. There are notches carved into it. Billy does not want to think about what those notches represent. Outside, the German infantry is closer now. 100 yards. Moving fast. They know time is against them. Know that if they give the Canadians time to consolidate, the bunker will be impossible to retake. Wait for my command, Billy says. Let them get close. 50 yards. Then we hit them with everything. The seconds stretch. Billy's heart hammers against his ribs. His finger is on the trigger. His breathing is too fast. He forces himself to slow it, to calm down. Fear makes you miss. Fear gets you killed. 75 yards, 60 yards, 50 yards. Now fire, the MG-42 roars to life. Little is a natural. He walks the fire across the advancing Germans like he was born behind that gun. Men fall, others dive for cover. Billy fires, works the bolt, fires again. The rifle bucks against his shoulder. He aims for center mass like they taught him, does not try for headshots, just puts rounds down range and trusts statistics to do the rest. The German advance stalls. They are taking casualties, taking cover, returning fire, but their rifles are less effective against a fortified position. This is what bunkers are designed for, to turn defense into a mathematical advantage. But the Germans have grenades, and they have more men, and they are very, very good at this. Billy sees the first grenade arc through the air. It hits the ground outside and rolls. He has time to shout a warning before it detonates. The explosion is deafening inside the concrete walls. Shrapnel ricochets. Little screams. Billy turns and sees blood on the boy's face. A fragment caught him across the cheek. Not serious, but bleeding heavily. "Keep firing," Billy shouts. Another grenade, this one closer. The explosion makes Billy's ears ring. Dust and smoke fill the bunker. He cannot see, cannot hear properly, but he keeps firing into the smoke because stopping means dying. Then Washington's voice cuts through the chaos. "Artillery incoming, take cover." Billy hits the floor. The others do the same. Through the firing slit, Billy can hear it. The shriek of shells incoming. The sound that makes even veteran soldiers soil themselves. The world explodes. The artillery barrage hits like the hand of an angry gun. The bunker shakes. Dust rains from the ceiling. Billy curls into a ball and prays the Canadian gunners remembered this is a friendly position. Prays they adjusted their aim enough that the shells land on the Germans and not on him. The barrage lasts 30 seconds. 30 seconds of pure apocalypse. Then silence. Billy risks a look through the firing slit. Where there were German soldiers advancing, there is now a moonscape of craters and smoke. Bodies lie scattered. Some move, most do not. The counterattack has been broken. For now. But Billy knows they will try again. Germans do not give up that easily. 3 miles to the west, Tommy Sullivan is learning that tank warfare is nothing like what they taught in training. In training, tank battles were neat. You identify the enemy. You maneuver for advantage. You fire. You win or lose based on skill and tactics. This is not that. This is chaos. This is smoke so thick Tommy has to stand exposed in the turret just to see where they are going. This is navigating through a battlefield covered in debris and bodies and burning vehicles. This is trying to fight an enemy you cannot see until they shoot at you. Shamrock has been advancing for 20 minutes. In that time, they have destroyed 3 Panzer turrets using Tommy's close assault tactic. They have also watched 2 other Canadian Shermans burn. One of them was commanded by a friend of Tommy's from training, Lieutenant Morrison. Tommy watched the crew bail out. Watched Morrison make it 3 steps before German machine gun fire cut him down. War does not care about friendships. Now Shamrock is pushing deeper into the German defensive zone. The Hitler line is not a single line. It is a network of positions stretching back half a mile. Layers of defense. Even when you break through one layer, there is another waiting. Contact left. Jackson's voice is tight with stress. "I got movement in that farmhouse 200 yards. Tommy swings the periscope. The farmhouse is half collapsed. Walls blown out by artillery, but there is definitely something moving inside. The glint of metal. The shadow of a gun barrel. Load AP, we're taking no chances. The 75mm gun barks. The armor-piercing round punches through what remains of the farmhouse wall. Secondary explosion. Something inside was storing ammunition. The building collapses in on itself. Good shooting, Jackson. But even as Tommy says it, he sees the muzzle flash from their right, sees it and knows they are too late to react. The German anti-tank gun fires. The round hits Shamrock's side armor, the weakest point, 35 tons of American steel, and the Germans found the one place where their gun can penetrate. The sound inside the tank is indescribable. The crack of impact, the scream of metal tearing, the roar as the shell punches through and detonates inside the crew compartment. Tommy is blown out of the turret. One moment he is inside giving orders, the next he is flying through the air. He hits the ground hard. The impact knocks the wind from his lungs. He lies there gasping like a fish. His ears are ringing. His vision is blurred. He can taste blood. When he touches his face, his hand comes away red. Shrapnel or impact damage, he cannot tell. He rolls over, looks at Shamrock. The tank is burning. Black smoke pours from the hatches. The ammunition inside is cooking off. Small explosions like firecrackers. Tommy knows what that means. Anyone still inside is dead or dying. Murphy Jackson Rodriguez. His voice sounds distant through the ringing in his ears. He tries to stand. Falls. His left leg will not support his weight. He looks down and sees his pant leg is shredded, blood soaking through. He has been hit and did not even realize it. He crawls toward the tank. Heat washes over him. The Sherman is burning hot now. The fire has reached the main fuel tanks. In seconds, it will be an inferno. Murphy. No answer. Tommy reaches the side of the tank. The driver's hatch is open. Murphy must have tried to bail out. Tommy looks inside. Murphy is there, still in his seat, not moving. His uniform is on fire. The smell is worse than anything Tommy has ever experienced. Burning flesh and rubber and paint. Tommy tries to reach in, to pull him out, but the heat is too intense. His hands blister. He pulls back. I'm sorry, he whispers. I'm sorry, Murph. The loader's hatch is also open. Rodriguez half made it out before the ammunition cooked off. His body hangs half in half out of the tank. Tommy does not need to check for a pulse. No one survives wounds like that. Jackson is still inside. The gunner's position. There is no way to reach him. The fire is too hot. And even if Tommy could reach him, Jackson was sitting directly in the path of the German round. He died instantly. Probably never knew what hit him. 3 men, 3 friends, 3 soldiers who trusted Tommy to keep them alive. All dead in the space of a heartbeat. Tommy sits on the ground next to his burning tank and feels something inside him break. Not his body is just damaged. This is something deeper. Some fundamental belief that if you are good enough, skilled enough, careful enough, you can survive. That belief is a lie. Skill does not matter when a German gun has you zeroed at 200 yards. Care does not matter when your armor is too thin and their gun is too strong. Survival is just luck. And Murphy and Jackson and Rodriguez ran out of luck. A medic finds Tommy, tries to bandage his leg and head. Tommy pushes him away. I'm fine, get me another tank. The medic stares at him. Sergeant, you're wounded. You need to go to the aid station. I said get me another tank. Sergeant Sullivan, you've been concussed. You're bleeding from at least 3 places. You need medical attention. Tommy grabs the medic by his collar, pulls him close. His voice is very quiet and very dangerous. Murphy had a fiancée, Sarah, in Regina. Someone has to write to her. Tell her he died brave. Jackson had a son he never met, 2 years old. Rodriguez had 7 brothers, serving. Their mother is going to lose her mind when she gets the telegram. He releases the medic. I can't write those letters. Not yet. But I can kill the bastards who killed them. So get me another tank. That's an order, Corporal. The medic looks at him for a long moment, then nods. He understands. Some wounds cannot be bandaged. Some pain cannot be treated. Sometimes a man needs to fight before he can grieve. 30 minutes later, Tommy is climbing into another Sherman. This one is called Avenger. The previous crew is all KIA. The replacement crew does not know each other, does not know Tommy. They are strangers thrown together by casualty lists and the grinding mathematics of attrition. Driver Patterson, Gunner Brown, Loader Hayes. Tommy does not ask about their families, does not want to know their stories. Knowing makes it harder when they die, and Tommy has learned that everyone dies eventually. Mount up, he says. His voice is flat, empty. We have work to do. Avenger rolls forward into the smoke and chaos. Tommy stands in the turret with his binoculars scanning for targets. His leg throbs. His head pounds. He does not care. Pain is just sensation. Sensation can be ignored. What cannot be ignored is the sight of Canadian infantry still dying at the wire, still trying to push through, still needing support from armor that keeps burning. Tommy spots another Panzer turret. This one is well concealed, just the barrel tip visible through camouflage netting. Patterson see that hedgerow at 3 o'clock. There's a turret hiding in there. How can you tell? Because I've seen 6 of them today and they all look the same. These German engineers are good, but they're predictable. Drive at it. Full speed. Brown's voice cracks. Sarge, that's suicide. No, suicide is sitting still and trading shots. We get close, we get under their gun depression. We kill them before they kill us. Now drive. Patterson drives. The Sherman charges the hidden turret. Tommy watches through his binoculars, watches for the muzzle flash. When it comes, he is ready. Hard left. Patterson yanks the controls. The tank slews sideways. The German round passes through empty air where they would have been. Straighten out faster. They are at 100 yards now. The Panzer turret is traversing, trying to track them. But tank turrets are not designed for fast-moving targets at close range. 50 yards. Stop Brown fire at will. Brown fires, the HE round hits the base of the turret mount. Concrete shatters. The turret lifts slightly from the impact, then settles at an angle. Disabled. Good kill. Patterson, find me another one. They do, and another, and another. For the next hour, Avenger moves through the Hitler line like an avenging angel, destroying bunker after bunker. Tommy is methodical, efficient. He does not think about Murphy burning in Shamrock, does not think about Jackson's body still inside, does not think about Rodriguez hanging half out of the hatch. He just kills, because killing is easier than feeling. By 1100 hours, the Hitler line is fracturing, not broken yet, but fracturing. The Canadian advance has penetrated in multiple places. Bunkers are falling. The German defense is losing its integrity. In his command, Bunker Major Klaus Weber stares at the map and cannot believe what he is seeing. Red marks indicate Canadian breakthroughs. There are too many of them. Too many bunkers reported destroyed. Too many Panzer turrets knocked out. His junior officer, Lieutenant Schreiber, enters with another report. His uniform is covered in dust. His face is pale. Herr Major, Sector 3 has been overrun. The Canadians have broken through at Aquino. Our defensive line is compromised. Weber looks up. How many Canadians? Unknown, sir, but they are not stopping. We kill them and more keep coming. They don't fight like the British. They don't maneuver. They just keep pushing forward. Weber stands, walks to the bunker entrance. Outside, he can see smoke rising from a dozen fires, can hear the continuous thunder of battle, can feel the earth shake from explosions. What are our casualties? Schreiber hesitates. Heavy, sir. We have lost at least 40% of our combat effective strength. Multiple strong points have fallen. The Panzer turrets are being systematically destroyed. And the Canadians? Their casualties are worse. Much worse, but they keep attacking anyway. Weber understands now. This is not tactics. This is not strategy. This is something the German military cannot counter. Pure bloody-minded stubbornness. The refusal to accept that an attack has failed. The Hitler line was designed to stop armies. It can kill thousands of attackers, but it cannot stop men who simply do not care about casualties, who keep coming regardless of the price. Weber makes the hardest decision of his military career. Order a fighting withdrawal. All units fall back to secondary positions. We cannot hold here. Schreiber stares. Sir, the Führer's orders were explicit. The Hitler line must not fall. The Hitler line has already fallen, Lieutenant. We are just admitting it now. If we stay, we will be encircled and destroyed. If we withdraw, we can reform and delay them further. Issue the order. The message goes out. All along the Hitler line, German soldiers begin to pull back. Not a rout, a controlled withdrawal, but withdrawal nonetheless. The fortress named for Adolf Hitler himself is being abandoned, and the men who broke it are farm boys from Montana and Saskatchewan and Ontario, men who were supposed to fail, men who refused to accept that failure was possible. Billy Chen does not know the Hitler line has been broken. He only knows that his bunker is still standing and his men are still alive. That is enough for now. The German counterattack has been repulsed. The artillery did its work, but Billy knows they will try again. Germans do not give up easily, except they do not try again. Minutes pass, then an hour. The battlefield grows quieter. The machine gun fire slackens. The artillery falls silent. Washington is at the radio again, listening to reports from other units. "Billy, you need to hear this." Billy moves to the radio, takes the handset. Captain Harrison's voice comes through, exhausted but triumphant. "All units, this is Able 6. The Hitler line is broken. Repeat, the Hitler line is broken. Enemy forces are withdrawing. Consolidate positions and prepare to advance." Billy sets down the handset, looks at the others. They stare back at him in disbelief. "We did it," Little says. His voice is barely a whisper. "We actually did it." O'Brien laughs. It is not a happy sound. It is the laugh of a man who has survived something that should have killed him. Billy walks to the bunker entrance, steps outside for the first time since they captured it. The sun is high overhead, the smoke is clearing, and stretching before him is a landscape of absolute devastation. Bodies everywhere, Canadian and German, burned tanks, shattered bunkers, barbed wire blown into twisted sculptures, shell craters deep enough to swallow a man. This is what victory looks like. This is what it costs to break the unbreakable. Billy counts the bodies he can see, stops at 50. There are more, many more. The Hitler line is broken, but the price was paid in blood. He thinks about MacDonald, about Kowalski and Peterson and all the others. They died for this, died so that the road to Rome could be opened, died so that other men could live. Was it worth it? Billy does not know. He is too tired to know, too numb, too filled with images that will haunt him for the rest of his life. But the line is broken, and that will have to be enough.